Hello. Welcome to Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann. Welcome back, Sherry. I tell you what, I know everybody missed you last week, but I missed you so much. It is so hard to carry on a conversation in monologue fashion.
Monologue
But
fashion.
But it is obviously Wednesday morning. You have both of us here. We want to welcome you to Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann. I am Terry Ann Porter, Life Coach TA. It is time to defeat those lies of negative self talk by changing your perspective, exploring new possibilities, seeing new pathways opening for you onto which you can choose to proceed in truth. And help me to welcome back the amazing Sherry.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to see everybody this morning. Yes, so I'm so happy to be back in Kansas City. It was a little bit sad when you come back and one of your animals has passed on, though. That was really hard. Really hard to leave your grandson, and then it's really hard to come home when you're missing one of your pets. So that wasn't. It's a little bit of a transition. So anyway, I am Sherry Berger. I am the owner of Here to There Consulting. And we educate business owners with those tools to balance life, business, and finances so that you can have the life and business that you love. Welcome to Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann. Didn't I talk about today? I just was talking about transitions, how it's really hard sometimes to come back and transition from one thing like being off hanging out, having fun with my grandson, to come to the transition of a pet, which is like a family member, right? Passing on. That's just a huge transition. And there's a lot of times that we have to do that in our business and our lives. And today we're going to talk about, what are we talking about today, Terry Ann?
Transitions, adjusting to moving forward. Maybe
Exactly
you've
what I
reached a
thought it
place in
was.
your life. Imagine you've reached a place in your life where, okay, it could be this way. It could be, I've reached my success moment. Now what? Does it all end? Or it could be, I'm still striving for that success moment, and now I've hit a detour. Have you driven around? Well, let's just say the Kansas City area, but I think it's happening almost anywhere right now. You know where you're going, you're on your way, and you hit that detour sign, roadblock sign. How do you
Oh,
keep
that was
moving forward?
yesterday going to the airport. My son gave us enough time to get to the airport because he's not a morning person. So we only need enough time to get to the airport, right? Because we forgot to plan for maybe a little bit of detours. I got there right on time. But then there were some detours even going through the, what is it called? I was telling you just before we went live. Sometimes they change the way or the systems when you go
The
through the
boarding
security
process.
checks. It was
Yes.
like I didn't understand the way they were doing it in Maryland because I had nothing to do with the way I did it on the way there. So guess what I had to do? I had to be adaptable. I had to adjust, and I had to hope not to miss a plane. So I teasingly just told them, as long as I can make it to my plane, I will jump through whatever hoops you need me to. No, they didn't have us take off our shoes. They didn't have us take out our electronic devices. Haven't you been trained to do that now when you travel? Instead, they're spending a long time inspecting all of our bags, not manually, but through computers. And then they had dogs there to check us out. It was just interesting the way that one, you can go, like, I was flying to Maryland. It was one way. Coming back, it was another. How many times does that happen when we have a plan and we're trying to succeed somewhere? We're like, yeah, well, when I wrote chapter 1, it went this way. But when I had to write chapter 2 of my book, it went that way. And how many times do we forget, right, that we just need to adjust? And then obstacles get in our way. I'm going to tell you, I actually wanted to come home. I missed my husband, so I couldn't wait to be home. I'm an empty nester, so I was real excited to get home. But my husband was at work when I got home, and I walked in the door, and things were not the same. I have 3 dogs, not 2 dogs. Now I have 2 dogs, not 3 dogs, right? So the way the dogs came to greet me were not how they're supposed to be greeting me. I was gone a week, Terry Ann. Aren't dogs supposed to miss you? One of my dogs is really old. I had to wake him up because he's almost 16. And then he's like, oh, mom's here. I didn't realize. And the other dog, her sister just passed on while I was gone. And so she's a little depressed. So she was like, oh, hi, Mom. And I was like, really? So I started bawling as well because I just lost my other little dog. But how many times does that happen to us? We have these expectations of how things should go. And then what do we have to do? Adjust. So, yeah, yesterday was a little emotional for me, Terry Ann. It's no fun to leave your cute little grandson, except for I'll tell you, he wore me out. I was so ready to go home so I can just be me.
You need a vacation from your vacation there.
And yesterday I heard he woke up in the morning and he's looking all over the house because he didn't understand where grandma is. He was so cute while I was gone. I would walk in the bedroom when mom or dad were getting him up and changing him, and I say, good morning. So one morning I walk in there, I'm like, hi, Simon. And don't worry, I woke up like, you know how you don't really want to get out of bed in the morning, Terry Ann? But if you hear your grandson, you're going to wake up at 6:30, 6:45. I don't even care. The minute I heard him, I popped out of bed every morning. So I pop out of bed. I run in there. It's like Christmas, isn't it? And I said, good morning. And then I went out to go get my coffee. He would not hear of that. He started bawling because grandma left his room.
It is fun to feel that.
I got to wait for Simon so I can have my coffee. This is not how I do my life. But how many times we make those adjustments, and they're fun in some ways, but losing a pet when you get home, you know, that's not a fun way. But I mean, that happens in our businesses and our life. I mean, well, that's life, what I just said. But our business is the same thing. Have you ever, like I said, have you ever gotten a high? You finish a success, like you said, and then you're like, oh, I got that done. And then what did you expect when you hit the high? Did you expect balloons and streamers? And what did you expect? Firecrackers? What did you expect? So you hit that and then you go, now what? Right?
You know, we talk about Toastmasters. I've been in Toastmasters now for almost 6 years. One of the first thing I learned about Toastmasters. Now, in my personality, I am very detail oriented in that if I'm planning something, I've got the checklist and I've got to know exactly what's going to happen, which is great until it doesn't go that way. In Toastmasters, the first phrase that I learned was plan to the nth degree and then wing it. And it's almost had to become my mantra because I would get so involved in my plans, my details, I'm moving forward. Well, it'll go this way, this way, this way, this way. And when it doesn't, I can paralyze because I don't know what to do. I'm driving somewhere. I know my directions. It says go to this spot and then turn here and then turn to here, but I can't get to that spot because there's a road closed sign. And I will have to pull over, and now what? So the phrase plan to the nth degree and then wing it has become almost my mantra now, so that I've made the plans. I know how it's going to go after I get past this, but I've got to wing it through this part. And so it helps me to look around and see what are the other possibilities then.
All right. So we're going live this morning. My mic didn't work. My camera didn't work. Because guess what I did yesterday? I unpacked. I went through mail. I had to do laundry. Oh my gosh, I didn't even get home till 11. And I was so busy doing, right? So this morning, trying to test everything. And how many times has that happened with us with Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann? I've been in the car and my phone isn't working right. Yeah, I've been in, right? So we do learn a lot of that adjustability in Toastmasters, but it's not fun. Terry Ann right now has me on the wrong side.
I know. And I got to tell you that it's unnerving to me that we are on opposite sides right now. I should be on the other side. I'm coping. This is one of those detour moments.
I told her, I
this is
said,
my
you
wing
can't
hit.
cope. She's like, just go live with your camera and your mic. And I'm like, you can't even cope without me I'm not even being detailed. I just want my crap to work. How many times do you feel that way? I just want my stuff to work. What in the world? And now, what the heck? I'm going to try to figure out why my camera, why my mic. And of course, I have my computer one I'm on right now, but it's just not the same quality. Hence why you bought a mic and a, camera and whatever you did. But I mean, what is it called? It's called done beats perfect, similar to what you said. Sometimes we plan, but it's not perfect. Do you know my book? If you've read it, it's not perfect. I bet you there's spelling.
No way.
I try to have no spelling errors, but I bet you could find one. I bet there's punctuations. I bet, right? Even though I took it through the ringer, I don't know how many times. And somebody's like, well, you could still do. And I was like, nope, I'm just going to get it done. Because if you don't get it done, when are you getting it done? There's always more, is there not?
There's always more. I just started reading my first book, so that I'm now posting them on YouTube. As I am reading these chapters, I'm now going in my mind while I'm reading it, going, oh my gosh, I could reword that. I should add this. And I'm editing the book and totally redoing it while I'm trying to read it to post it. I think so. We do that. We look at something and that's
but
not.
But that wasn't the first
right.
time you read that book. Don't even. You've read that book.
No, it's not. No, but it's while I'm reading it now to post it. And so it's a mindset of, I don't want to put this up there because, oh my gosh, I should redo that part.
But
I didn't think of it earlier, but I am thinking of it now.
But you got to put it the way it says it in the book. I got the same thing because my book's going to be going on audio, and I'm worried about the same thing. But how many times have you read your book, Terry Ann?
Oh,
a bunch.
I've read it a dozen times and not seen these things.
But that's because you put it over the side for 6 months, and you're picking it back up, and you're going, now we see it from a different perspective. One of Terry Ann's favorite words.
I love that perspective.
Word. And writers will tell you to do that, to write, put it over the side, and then come back and look at it. But it doesn't matter because you're still seeing, I could reword, I should have said, I could have put. That's why we have a second edition, by the way, Terry Ann. So it sounds like you're putting your second edition. Congrats.
All right, yes.
But we always think we have to just, I don't know, have things go the way we think they should, or I don't know, right? Like I was getting so stressed out. I was like, okay, I restarted my computer, everything. I just want my mic, my camera to work. And then I think it's funny because then I look up and I'm like, oh, adjustability is what we're talking about today. And you're like, yeah. And I like I said yesterday, I think I was supposed to be at an event yesterday afternoon. And I was just like, yeah, I had a lot of adjustability in my life yesterday because now I got to leave my grandson. Don't worry, he'll be here in 7 weeks. I've already started counting down the days that he's coming here. Okay, so that makes you feel a little bit better. And then you're going, oh, my poor dog, I lost my dog. And that's another adjusting. It's whatever the adjusting is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are some of your goals that you're working on this year, Terry Ann, and how have you had to adjust?
Goals I'm working on this year, I finally just the past couple of weeks have sat down and said, I'm getting this done. And that is getting at least the first book. I would love to get both books, but at least the first book adjusted and posted on YouTube, which I'm doing that now. I'm doing some final edits for a couple of other just small books that I'm working on. I don't do big ones, just little things. I've just started doing a online book study. We're reading Precious in His Sight.
Oh,
my goal this year is to keep moving.
Did that start last Monday?
That started Monday, yes.
And what if people still want to be involved?
Go ahead and follow through on my website and join, and we'll get you involved. We had great discussion Monday about the introduction of the book. And we're going to take it slow, go kind of a chapter or two at a time, and spend some time looking at how the author's life is affected and then how our own lives are affected.
That'll be fun. Yeah. So when does that meet?
That meets on Mondays during the noon hour Central Time.
Okay. So yeah, reach out to Terry Ann, and it's not too late to join because we know how to readjust and
We
come.
can readjust and move forward.
But yeah, you might want to join now because, of course, we don't want you to get too far behind on the book studies. But that would be awesome.
And
so I'm
you
glad you got a great group.
And you have a workshop coming up with your book, don't you?
I do. We're going to dig deeper with my book. If you have purchased my book, if you have not, you ought to purchase my book. But my book also has worksheets. And so we work along. And so you're going to get free coaching with me. Not free, actually. It's a very inexpensive workshop. It's $197, but you're getting like 8 weeks worth of coaching with me to take you from here to there, to take you all the way through that book. So there won't be so overwhelming, and we can work through each one of those worksheets. And we're going to meet on Mondays and Thursdays, 11 to 12:30 over lunch hour Central Time. And I will be recording that. So if some reason you miss a session, you'll be able to catch right up. So yeah.
And when does this start?
Monday, this coming up Monday, the 20th.
This coming Monday. Great.
Yeah, 11 to 12:30 Central Time. It's a 90 minutes on Mondays and Thursdays. And it's over your lunch hour. And it will go for 8 weeks. So it's a great way to get through the summer and you do some of your reading, work on your worksheets. We're going to get together and make sure that clarification so that you can have that whole custom roadmap put together, moving you from here to there. So it's going to be a fun group. It'll be fun. And yeah, look forward to everybody that's joined on Monday. I will see you there. So we can put some of those links down below for them later, Terry Ann. But
yes, we'll add those
you links. Also, I thought we're working on a book, Terry Ann, another book.
I do. In fact, I did do my coffee shop day last week. Made a lot of edits. So like we were talking about earlier, when I said, I'm reading them and finding things, I've set it back down so that this week I can pull it back up and go, okay, now where do I insert those edits that I needed to make so that I can read it with a whole different voice right now. So that should not be much longer.
That's awesome. And that's your king.
That's Daughter of the King.
Yeah.
Being a princess. I'm not sure what to title it yet. It's either Being a Princess or Daughter of the King. I haven't fully decided.
But you were on a summit and you did a short synopsis on that. Can we still watch that summit or is it?
Yes, we can.
Down? Oh, yes, so maybe we should put that out there that people could do as well. But I know that was really, really good. If you haven't heard that little snip of Terry Ann's. Is yours on your YouTube channel, Terry Ann?
It's on my YouTube, yes.
Yeah, you need to join Terry Ann's YouTube channel. There's a lot of good information out there. And you're also reading, like you said, your first book will be out there. So yes, that would be great.
The first 4 lessons are out there now.
Follow Terry Ann for all of that on YouTube. That would be great.
And to do any of that, just like yours, there are a lot of adjustments to move ahead. Sometimes even just making dinner, I have to make all kinds of adjustments to move ahead.
Oh my goodness. Do you want to get me started on dinner? I got home at 11 yesterday. Have you ever traveled? I had to be at the airport at 7:20. You don't get home till 11. So when did you eat? And if you are not at home and you leave your husband at home, guess how much is in the refrigerator? Yeah. So I got home yesterday and not only did I have to clean clothes, but I had to cook, even to have lunch. And then I had to figure out lunch. And then I figured out dinner for my husband and me. And I was like, wow, boy, could tell I wasn't home. And they were nice enough to leave me a stack of mail like this. So, I mean, that was nice. You got to readjust, don't you? So when I was talking to a friend of mine, I'm like, and they left me all the mail. Of course, who's they? It's just really Kevin, right? Matthew, I mean, look, Robin came home for the weekend, but she doesn't live here. And my friend goes, but you're the one that takes care of all the mail.
I was just going to say that you take care of the mail, I bet, right?
And he ate while you were gone, and he figured it out while you were gone. But you're the ones that plans all the meals, aren't you? Well, yeah. So you really thought there was a mail and meal in a mail. What is it, ferry at your house? Seriously? Do you not know how to stop and get yourself to eat something to eat on the way home? I just wanted to get home, Terry Ann. Then I got here and went, and then have you ever been so tired? I am not going to run up the store, or I'm not going to go to fast food. I'm just going to figure out something here. There has to be something to eat in this house. Don't worry. I saved the day. I found it all, but I just prepped
You stashed a little something before you left, right? Kevin's not going to find this bag of Oreos here.
So I thought you'd think that was funny, but you're talking about, have you had to readjust with dinner? And then tonight I'm already going, okay, what are we eating? And when do I have time to go to the store? And I already knew he was at Walmart on Sunday. I said, couldn't have you picked up? He basically bought what he thought he needed. It's like, okay.
He didn't know what you wanted.
And so then when you get these expectations, again, like I said, I'm so lucky. I talked to one of my best friends yesterday, and she's like, don't you do all the mail? Aren't you the one that meal Really? Are you really saying this to me?
You know, we all need that friend. We all need that friend who will say to us, wait a minute, hold it. Wallow in your pity all you want, but come on, this is this is what you normally do.
And then when I said something to Kevin, Kevin's like, well, you could have asked me. I would have picked something up. And then Kevin goes, I left the mail in the boxes because I figured you want to know what was going on and you'd ask me where it was all if I didn't. And I'm like, yeah. So the two things you're sort of complaining about, he didn't say that. He just goes, well, let me know next time if you want me to do something different.
Hey, your life was what changed last week. His didn't. So I tell you, and isn't it funny? We can look at all the different places in our lives where we get to that. Oh, okay, we're moving along. We're doing this, doing that. Wait a minute, that didn't go as expected. And it could be something as simple as, well, why didn't they do what I wanted? Well, I didn't say anything about it. Why didn't they read my mind? Well, no, when they read my mind, I get mad.
The question basically that Kevin asked me was, well, what did you want me to really do different?
I don't know. I just know it wasn't what happened. I don't know what
I
wanted.
I'm walking in the house and then all of a sudden starting to cry because you realize your dog is gone. Literally, my dog was not there. Threw you for a loop, right? Because then you're like, oh, great. Now I got to deal with this. So anyway, but it's too funny that, yeah, adjustments we just have to make along the way. And sometimes we're saying, why'd you give me my coffee that way? Or why'd you, whatever you said. And then the person's like, but what did you want? Oh, I don't know. I guess I just didn't want life to be different. And it was different when I walked in and it was, you know what I'm saying? Was it really the mail? Was it really the food? Was it really, you know what I'm saying? But I did walk in my house and life is different when you lose a pet or whatever happens if life's different. So I think we're creatures of habit. Have you ever got mad at the person that sits in your seat at church? I love those people too. Or they park in your parking spot.
That's my seat. That's my seat. How can they sit there?
Or my parking spot. They have literally parked in my parking spot. Can you believe that?
Oh,
no. It's like, we get that way, right? We want things to go this way and they go that way. You thought, what did you think when you were going to start reading your book? You just thought you were going to say, this is great. Nothing needs changed.
I don't know if I thought that I was just going to be reading and it would just be verbalizing the text I wrote. I was surprised to catch myself in my head editing the book while I was doing this. I mean, I don't want to do that now. I'm just reading, but my mind is going, wait a minute, hold it. Just think, wait a minute, let's redo this. I can't redo this. I'm reading word for word. So I'm having this battle going on in my head.
If I gave you my book, you probably would have just read it word for word. But since it was your book, every time you read it, what were you doing? Every time you were proofreading, right? Every time I've read my book, I proofread. And now I'm going to be doing my book on audio because, you know, my book's going to be put on audio. And I'm worried about, I got to practice before I do audio. I got to make sure I only read what's there, not what I want to be there. I got to, oh my goodness. And that's what you're doing with putting it on YouTube.
That's what I'm doing. There's so many times I wanted to break out and do a little editorializing. No, that's for a different session. And remind myself, this session is only to read the book as is. You can edit later.
And then you go, I wish I had 2 books on there. And I'm going, Terry Ann, you never put one. So let's see how that goes. Readjust so that you can maybe put your second one on. Maybe you're going to read it, proofread it, fix the book, republish it, and then you're going to read it.
So many possibilities.
We got to think that we have to learn just to be adjustable and adapt, and things happen. But I guess more importantly, even your attitude. You can't control your attitude. Well, you can control your attitude.
You can
have I had unrealistic expectations. And then when people asked me what those expectations were, I was like, I don't even know. Then all of a sudden I started realizing I had too much thrown at me when I walked in the house. And it was emotions being thrown at me. I'm hungry being thrown at me, overwhelmed. I don't even know, right? And how would have you wanted that different? I think it was great that nobody was home when I got home, actually, even though you think, oh, I wish somebody had been here to greet me, because then you could get your, what's it called? Perspective, your time with God, whatever you're doing, to get yourself back in the role of being home and, everything being different. And I don't even know. My other dog slept with me last night, and she kept me up. And I said, my goodness, she cannot sleep with me, after I told my husband when the other dog died that maybe she could just sleep with us. And my husband goes, well, what do you want to do with her? Because she doesn't want to go in her kennel. She doesn't want to. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to make some readjustments with her that's going to work for me and work for her, and figure out what we're going to do. But I just thought that was funny too, because I said, maybe she could sleep with us. And then I'm like, no, she cannot. She kept me up all night. But you just have to figure what's going to work for you. And sometimes maybe we need to sit down and journal, Terry Ann.
Oh, I think journaling is a great idea.
Well, because when you're upset and you're going, I don't want the dog sleeping with me, nobody got groceries, somebody didn't go through the mail. Now all of a sudden we put down all these things. Okay, here's what you're frustrated about. What were your expectations? Were they unreasonable? Were they reasonable? What would have you liked to see different? Because then you might be able to go back and communicate to people, or change things, or go to the coffee shop like you like to do to finish up your book. But until we know where those voids are, how do we even know what we really want? So a lot of times we just get overwhelmed, we get frustrated, and we don't know what we want. And you know what's really good to do when you're in that moment too, Terry Ann?
What's that?
Sit down with a coach. And they will help you strategize some of those ways of what's really going on, and how do you get from here to there. Ha ha ha, there's my pun. Or how do you change your perspective so that you'll see other pathways that you can proceed. How's it all go? I don't know, the 4 P's. And Terry Ann and I are always here to meet with you and help you with some of those adjustments, but we go through them ourselves. And sometimes I got to pick up the phone or schedule an appointment with my coach, or and I got to journal, and I got to make sure that where am I going? Because you know what? In the end, we're all human. And life is not going to always go the way you think it should.
No, you mean we have to plan to the nth degree and then wing it?
I guess. I don't like the wing it part.
I don't like it either, but you know what? When the plans aren't going as they are, you either paralyze, or you wing it. I basically comes down to those
some
two
people
choices.
Don't play until the nth degree because they're more free spirit and they just go with it.
Oh, okay. So there's some winging in there then.
Well, that's how they sort of do it, but they plan, but then they just go with it. So what kind of personality you are is important to know too.
Absolutely.
So next week, Terry Ann, now that you're getting me caught up and I'm getting this perspective, and I'm on the wrong side of the table with you.
I know. Hey, I'm still adjusting to this. Don't bring
I
me up.
have to show
You'll get
you
me
my
to panic.
coffee cup. It's very intentional. It says coffee, then adulting, because I had a whole week that I just got to be a 14-month-old baby. The kids
isn't
would
that
go,
fun?
Mom, you didn't want them at daycare, so now you're babysitting. And I would go, I'm not babysitting. They go, what do you mean you're not babysitting, Mom? You're watching Simon. And I said, no, I'm playing. Simon and I are playing. When I'm grandma, I don't babysit. I just go to play. So we're playing all day. And now I have to have coffee before I adult. Isn't that funny?
Well, we have 2 Wednesdays left. Because this month has 5 Wednesdays in it, which is
good. You
doing
get
something to the calendar in my head. But we are preparing for the end of the second quarter. The year almost halfway over. We're preparing for ending out the first half and beginning the second half. And how will that go? That is where we are at the moment.
That's what we talked about. Yeah, that we want to get ready for that because now we got 2 weeks. Let's talk about those goals, right? That we've already accomplished these first 6 months and what ones we need to readjust and pivot and, keep moving forward. Or did you all of a sudden decide that, have you ever made a goal, Terry-Ann, and then later you figure out maybe I didn't really want to do that, or I'd want to do it this way, not that way. So we'll talk about some of those things the next 2 weeks and get readjusted so that we can go into the second half of the 6 months. That'll be exciting.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. I will see everybody next Wednesday and I will be on here. Maybe my mic will work. Maybe my camera will work. I don't know. All right, guys.
All right.
Have a good one.
See you all next week.